Good morning. A little louder, please. You all got coffee. Lovely, lovely, lovely to see you all. And welcome back. It's going to be tough to follow this session which we had with Srikanth. And Srikanth's already declared the AI is here. So we're going to have this interesting panel this morning, talking to my esteemed panelists, and I'm going to request each one of them, when you speak for the first time, just spend 30 seconds introducing yourselves. Just give us a short synopsis of your background. And so we're going to talk about AI at work. So my question, after listening to Srikanth saying AI is here, yeah, AI, the term artificial intelligence was made up before I was born, back in 1956. Correct? And then, we kept hearing about AI off and on until the 30th of November 2023 or 2022, when OpenAI finally announced their ChatGPT, and we said, oh, the AI is here. So while we keep talking about AI being here, my question is, since 30th November 2022, what has changed? Kya badla hai? What has been my experience, and I would consider everyone here, including me, as the privileged people who live in India, but also think about it from the context of the common man. What impact has the AI had in the last 2 years since we talked so much about it? Some of the questions, I've got a very worthy panelist, so I'm going to generally pose some questions to them. For example, how has my banking experience changed in the last 2 years? You would notice that I'm a little bit of a skeptic, hoping that I'll get the best out of my panelists as I express my somewhat guarded cynicism about too much talk about AI. Has my shopping experience online and offline changed significantly in the last 2 years? Has my travel experience changed a lot? Certainly in terms of the information retrieval, it has changed, but has it changed significantly? Maybe Google has got a little better now. Yeah, Google search has got a little better, but I think most of the world still uses Google search rather than ChatGPT. My mobile phone service, particularly in India, I can't get mobile reception still in some parts of my home. And I'm still saying, hello, can you hear me? So what has changed? Skilling, we have a person from a skilling company here. How has skilling changed? So I got some of these thoughts in my mind, so I'm hoping that our panelists this morning will address these questions in their opening remarks. So what I'd like to suggest that maybe each one of you from your organizations give us a couple of concrete examples of how your organization is using AI. What impact has it had on your customers, on your employees? What's the net positive to the society? Driving up here this morning, I was reading an article Jaideep sent me over the weekend from Professor Václav Smil. And he writes a lot about AI, and he said, well, in 2024 is a new version of 1974. And he's got a whole sort of examples in support of that argument. And in the interest of time, I actually wanted to read that whole paragraph. But I'm going to save time. But go to the panel and say, take 4 or 5 minutes each in your opening comments. Give us concrete examples of how you or your organization is putting AI to work. And as I said, if you wouldn't mind for 20 or 30 seconds, just give a brief introduction of yourself to the audience as well. So may I still start with you, Nitin?
Thank you. Thanks very much. My name is Nitin Chugh, and I look after digital banking and transformation at SBI, the State Bank of India. That's a brief introduction, but in SBI, I think we have been now using AI for over 6 to 7 years. More recently, we have moved to trying to experiment with generative AI as well. And the question that you asked, that is it really touching everyday lives? Probably not yet, because banks and most brands, unless they are really a digital business by themselves, and only a digital business, would usually want to try things internally with their internal workflows, internal processes, before they expose these nuances to customers. That's number one. So what we've been doing is, over a period of last 5 years, we have moved all our statistical models to AI and ML models. So that is number one, which effectively brings out better accuracy for us. And today we run something like 145 AI models for different things, for underwriting, for customer selection, for fraud, identification, for even as basic as footfall reduction in branches, and a couple of our models are also patented now. But essentially, we have looked at AI in a way that we can keep improving our overall operating efficiency. We are not very worried whether it is going to reduce cost. We certainly know that it is going to help us in improving productivity, but we have stayed away from over-expecting, but at the same time, there are intelligent ways of looking at our core business of risk management much better through AI. For example, right now we're going through this whole problem of mule accounts. People getting calls saying that, you have a digital arrest, as we know, or any kind of those illicit activities that we are seeing lots and lots of people are going through now. Now we have been able to develop, and not just us, but lots of people in the industry have been able to put out AI models to be able to kind of predict with some reasonable accuracy that these individuals are likely to get more exposed to frauds like these. You cannot stop a fraud from happening all the time, but if there is an inability to predict, hopefully enough, we should be able to crunch that. More recently, over the last 1 year, we have also looked at generative AI models. And recently, we deployed 2 of them, both of them for our employees, with the expectation that this is going to help them provide better interactions to, have better interactions with our customers. So one, for example, it is a known fact that whenever somebody goes to a bank to say that I've had a bereavement in the family, and you want to settle a deceased account, usually it gets into a lot of complicated documentation because each case is very unique. There is a standard operating procedure, but yes, each case is very unique. The knowledge is forever evolving. So we created a knowledge bot for our people to be able to handle those kind of complex queries using GenAI. The second one we deployed recently was a more master sort of a bot again for our employees called Ask SBI. Now, when we are more and more confident with something like this, we do believe that with the future of agentic AI looking more visible and plausible as of now, many of the workflows will start moving to AI. And that is where some of the models that today we use as batch processes, let's say I want to underwrite a set of loans, I take a database of customers, AI decides which customers can be given what kind of a loan. That whole thing can actually be run as a process. So we are now very critically and closely examining this whole new third wave of AI, which is the agentic AI. I'm not getting into the autonomous AI cases that Shrikant was talking about because they don't relate to, I don't think we are in a situation where we are looking at bankers being replaced with AI as yet. But if that has to happen at some point in time, I think we will at least try and learn that whole space in the meantime. Let me stop at that for now. Thanks.
Yeah, thanks. So I'm Shri, president of GTD Data. We are a recently listed public limited company where Ganesh Natarajan is our chairman. So we specialize in data and AI, right? We sort of breathe data and AI day in and day out, both internally and externally for our clients. So from an internal perspective, we recognize that AI can bring in massive productivity boost and improve our efficiency. For instance, most of our employees use Copilot these days for document summarization. Instead of going to ChatGPT, which is outside the network, they can now use Copilot to ask certain questions, which is part of your Word, MS Word, for instance. So that we're using that. We're using Excel to sort of ask certain questions and do some analysis, which would have otherwise involve a lot of manual work. So Copilot is one we're using. We also built a HR bot or HR agent, that basically does some pre-screening of the candidates. So there's a lot of productivity gains from a HR perspective in terms of sourcing CVs from Naukri and evaluating and putting those CVs to our technical engineers for interviews. And then the next stage, the agent will also actually interview the candidates based on the role that you wanted to interview, right? For instance, you say, I'm trying to interview for a data engineering role. You define the parameters, and then it would go and set up the call, and it would go and start chatting with the actual engineer prospect that we're talking to. Now, this means that there is a huge amount of savings from the billable in the billable hours, right? So, for instance, the guys who actually do the interview are billable on client sites. So, to get a schedule from these guys on a weekday to do a call to talk to a candidate is extremely difficult, and that means that the interviews are postponed to Saturdays and Sundays, and then the placement basically delays, and that's a big problem as HR professionals. I'm sure you guys understand the pain. So basically, this agent would call the candidates, run through a set of predefined questions. Obviously, we train the LLM to do that, and then it'll also come up with a scoring. So that means that we are able to identify and select the right candidates as soon as possible instead of delaying the thing. Then, in fact, our M&A department uses AI for analyzing large amounts of financial reports and identifying the right prospects for acquisition. So that's another use case we have. Now we extend this to our client sites, right? So our clients, we work with a lot of clients. We work with, for example, a manufacturing client where the client is able to ask questions in natural language, and then the AI would go and build up the dashboards and reports and so on and so forth. So gone are the days when people are actually physically building Power BI reports. Slowly, the customers have now started using natural language questions. It connects to the data, which means that you're actually chatting with the data, and the AI is building reports for you, which obviously needs to be validated before submitting to the regulators. That's one use case. The other use case is where we're working with an insurance client where it's basically improving their customer service and integrating with their chatbot. For example, if a customer calls and says that, hey, a tree has fallen on my car, am I eligible to claim? Right? And if I am eligible, what is the amount I can claim? Now, this is not a daily incident, right? A car doesn't fall on a tree every single day. So what happens is the customer service agent doesn't have a clue in terms of what the answer should be. So he or she takes about 10 minutes talking to the manager and putting the actual customer on hold for 10 minutes, and there's a huge deterioration in customer experience at that point in time. So what this chatbot does is it quickly integrates, it searches through all the structured data, unstructured data, a lot of PDF documents, and in a matter of milliseconds, it's able to say what the claim should look like, and in the first instance, if a claim is even possible or not. So this has taken the internal organization by storm, because hey, here is a real world use case of how I can quickly not just summarize the data, but I can also look for specific information that is buried in the internal documents. That's a big use case. And then we're also working with a microfinance organization today where we built a WhatsApp bot. So there are field agents who go around selling loans and stuff to farmers and poor or mid-market sections of society, and these agents basically live on 20,000 commission, 30,000 rupees commission, right, based on their target. So now the AI can integrate with their CRM system. The field agent chats with the WhatsApp, and then it comes up with that, hey, you achieved 35 out of 40 in this month, and this is your target, and so on and so forth. So there's a lot of use cases that we see in the client space now. Yeah.
Thank you, Sri.
Hi, good morning, everyone. I'm Neha Gupta. I'm a managing director and partner with BCG, specifically focusing on BFSI. So actually what Sri and Nitin spoke about is a good precursor, because I see it exactly like he said, both from the BCG use of it, but also our clients in the BFSI space. And I'll talk about first how we are using it in BCG, and it's become very core to the way we work. The entire knowledge, consulting is a knowledge industry, right? And what we do is, one of the things we are strongly known for is that we can share best practices across industries, across topics. What earlier used to happen was, in the search, if I wanted to search internally on our knowledge navigator to say, what are the best practices in recruitment, for example, and what it would pull out is a few reference documents and share them with me to say, okay, this is the project that was done, look at this document. It has now advanced to say it will not just pull out the document, it will actually summarize. It will link it to saying, in your current context of banking in India, in a public sector or a private sector organization, these are the big references, or these are the big insights. Here are the reference for it. Here are the people you should speak with within BCG expert network internally to actually do it. So what it's solving for is solving the mundane so that the people, our consultants, can actually spend time doing the right application of it from a business point of view. So that's one kind of an example. I think the second very different example is, again, consultants are famous for making very pretty presentations. And that is a use case which all consultants in BCG love, because you can now actually explain what do you want on the slide. They are trained on the BCG formats, and they can actually create the first version of the slide. So traditionally, we used to talk about how, as you progress in consulting, the time taken from to make a slide comes down from 2 hours to 1 hour to 30 minutes to 10 minutes. It's actually now a few minutes in total. Right? So that's about increasing employee productivity, and I think we strongly believe that as we do it, we can go and explain to our clients, right? Because the believability goes up. I think from the client side, just one very interesting thing I was picking up as I was hearing both Nitin and Shri. Let's take the customer service example. And that bots have been around for very long. We always had the websites replying as a chatbot to questions. The challenge used to be that people would only have certain information fed, and it was rule-based. So only if the questions were from the list were they able to answer. To moving to a point where, as she said, it can actually intelligently search and give an answer even if it's not rule-based fed. To now, many companies, both in India and outside, including BFSI, have exposed the customers to it. And that's really combining multiple bots. So it combines an NLP which translates the question into a command. It combines the content summarizer which looks at what's inside. But it also combines things like a sentiment bot, to say, depending on how the customer is asking the question and the tonality, what is the way that you should answer? So, you talked about evolution of AI. That's really evolution of AI, to say, how do I move from a rule-based to a smarter answer to actually now a conversation? And we are seeing, when deployed at scale, even in India, we are seeing a 3x increase in productivity for contact center. I will not get into the details, but you spoke about MFI. At the other extreme end, even for wealth managers, this is becoming a big use case. Can I prep before a meeting to say, what should I go and pitch to my customer? What has been the portfolio looking? The market has crashed. How does it impact my specific customer? So across the spectrum of individuals and clients, it is actually making that quite relevant and useful today.
Thank you. A very good morning to all of you. I'm Jaideep Kevalramani, Chief Operating Officer and Head of Employability at TeamLease EdTech. So I'm going to talk in the context of higher education and employability. But first, I would like to thank the AI Congress for putting this together. I mean, it's a melange of some great, beautiful minds. Ganesh, Pramila, Ramesh, Manjari, I mean, such brilliant minds over here addressing you this morning. I was introduced to the world of AI in 2016 when my paths crossed with Ganesh for the third time, and that's when we started putting together some solutions that would help people on their career journeys and so on, and never been looking back since then. I've got 4 patents in AI. So in that context, what we are trying to do at TeamLease EdTech is help people acquire higher education and on-the-job training simultaneously or concurrently, so that in 3 years they've got a degree, they've got work experience, and they're far ahead of an average graduate. So they've got a stipend, they can support their education, family, and do all of this. But let's look at not just what's happening today, but also what will happen in the future. Just to set the context, I mean, apart from the New Year messages on 1st of January, we were also reminded that the first Gen Beta is starting Jan 1, 2025. Now just do some maths. In 2047, when India is celebrating 100 years and aiming for the Viksit Bharat, the kid will be 22 years old and they'll be available for jobs. Now the Gen Beta is AI native, like we talk about Gen Alpha being digital native and the prior gen and so on. Gen Beta is AI native. They'd be born with tools, devices, and technology that is all AI powered around them, right from the entertainment or education and so on. Now, dialing back 25 years, cut to today, Nirmala Sitharamanji announced 500 crores towards AI Center of Excellence for higher education. I mean, that sum is not even going to scratch the surface. If education that has not been transformed for like thousands of years, the only big thing that has happened is we were able to digitize and get high quality education over to kids in the remote places using 4G, 5G technologies and online learning and all. But AI is going to be transformative. The whole quality of education is going to change from transfer of knowledge to discussing what education can do for the future generation. So the teacher is going to use AI to produce class notes and question banks. The learner is going to use AI to respond to those question banks and those assignments. But then the conversation in the classroom is going to shift towards, okay, let's talk about it. That's going to raise the level of knowledge, and therefore, it is important for India to tap into this knowledge-based economy and create a virtuous upward cycle. On the end of employability, a couple of things are going to happen. One, every digital job is going to be put at risk because of AI, and it is very important that all people who are in the workforce become AI-augmented workers so that they can bring in the 10x productivity that they need and are able to deliver goods faster, better, cheaper to their internal clients and the end clients. And in the context of what we do to help the kid who is seeking a job, we have not only AI tutors, AI skilling programs, but we are also helping them prepare for the interviews using AI interviewers. So even before they face the interview for the first time, they've had like 6 practice sessions absolutely at no cost because they are facing an AI video interviewer, and the interviewer at the end of every question is saying, you could have answered this better and so on. So the kid's confidence level goes up 100x before even the first interview. And it's a video based, there is voice and all of the empathy, everything that you can face. From a university perspective, we are helping universities embrace the education of future, right from managing cohorts to analyzing who's sitting there. I've seen some Gen Z in that corner over there. And then from a government perspective, we are helping them solve the issue of talent mobility. I mean, there is this big debate about where are the jobs versus where is the talent. The answer lies in bringing the talent mobility. If you encourage kids enough to come to where the jobs are, then you've solved this problem. And from a team perspective, everyone at our workplace is now AI augmented. They are all producing much more and at a higher quality level than they were able to do so 2 years ago. So with that, I'll take a pause. Thank you, Ramesh.
Hi, I'm Sudeshna. I'm the CEO of Marg Business Transformation. We are specialists in change management. You're hearing a lot of transformations these days. We are on the people side of the change, that is helping them do the transformation. As you heard everybody here, while doing the AI in our organizations, if you can split it into 2 parts. One part is the tailored solutions, that is our operating models, our business models. We are using AI to augment that. So as a training and consulting organization, for us, content and customer experience are the key. So we are using AI to enhance content. So for change management, ProSci, the ProSci ADKAR model is what we use. We have put in the 22 years of research, which ProSci has done on change management onto an AI tool, and the change management plans become very handy to us instantly, because everything with what kind of changes you are doing, you are putting it into the system and getting the results for it. The other part is customer experience. For us, being connected to the customer is very important, and for a leadership development company, matching the trainer to the customer is key. So for us, that AI has helped us in doing that. Another part of AI we are seeing, one is, as I said, is attached to the business models of the organization. The other part is helping the employees do better. So that part, I would say, we leave it a little bit to them to get a little more adept to AI. That is a little free-flowing at this point of time, wherever they would think best to use it, whether to, build a response to an email or build a better presentation. So that part is to get AI adept for the employees at large. And to what you were saying, that what is not visible, I would say that organizations are primarily using it for the tailor-made part now. The customer-facing part is through bots, etc., which is not very visible at this point of time. So maybe you don't see the sea change of what AI has done, but internally, I think it has changed a lot. But the way we look at it is, you should not look at AI as what AI can do for you, but look at it as what you can do with AI. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. So I just have some follow-up questions for my panelists, but maybe I'll address it first to Jaideep. He is in the business of employment. So first of all, Niti Aayog claims that India has 420,000 AI professionals, more than the tech sector of many of the countries. And then also that there is 92% adoption rate among Indian enterprises to AI. Very heartening statistics. On the other hand, the employment, now I don't have Indian data, but in the US, the latest employment report said the unemployment rate is still 4.3% overall, but the unemployment rate for IT professionals, surprisingly, is 5.1%. So it's actually higher than the general unemployment rate. And looks like the unemployment rate among the lower level coding type software professionals is actually increasing. What's the situation in India? And can you make a bold prediction here for people in the audience to say what jobs are going to go away? And who are the people who should be really worried about their jobs as this trend comes into India as well? Remember, India is an IT services dominated country. There's a lot of people who do low-level coding. What happens to the job? What happens to the job market? And then if after Jaideep, each one of you might want to comment quickly on the employment situation.
Sure. So let me address the first question first. I mean, the war for tech talent in the country continues. There has been a little bit of headwinds in 2024. We saw some issues over there. But by and large, if you have a good tech talent, companies are fighting for that. So that's going to continue. In terms of what jobs will go away, pretty much every job that has a digital element, you can use agentic AI, autonomous AI, and all of them start to automate that. The AI augmented human will survive this. Everyone who's kind of staying away from AI. I mean, if ChatGPT or DeepSeek or something has not yet made it to your home screen, then you're a laggard by now. I mean, that's a good indicator of how the apps are treating you. What the talent needs to do to survive that is, if your organization is still not yet embraced it fully, years ago we used to have the concept of BYOD. Now it's BYOAI, bring your own AI to the workplace. I mean, $20 is nothing but 2 Starbucks coffees. Everyone can bring their own AI and look smarter in front of their manager. I mean, there's nothing preventing that. Organizations, most importantly the boardrooms and the CEOs, need to very quickly establish a framework if they don't have a framework. Start pilots, encourage the employees to bring AI to their work and be open about it. Using AI is not to be anything ashamed about. I mean, if you're going to use it, the organization needs to laud you, call you out, make you a great example in the town hall, and then allow the organization. However, this requires a lot of guardrails. I mean, you can't have people going berserk using AI and like sharing your private company data onto ChatGPTs and all of that. I mean, you need to create an open environment, but also ensure that people are responsible and aware of the restrictions around.
So we'll talk about the guardrails in a moment, but could you make a prediction for employment? What's going to happen to the employment rate? Is there a real threat to the unemployment rate among the junior level coders increasing?
In India? No. I mean, you talk to any business leader out here, they're all crying for talent. I mean, I don't know where the conversation comes about, where are the jobs. I mean, today, everyone is burning on talent. So the better the productive the talent is by using AI, it's going to create more opportunities for AI professionals and non-AI professionals both.
Let me pose the same question to one of the largest employers in this country.
See, we are a different kind of an employer. We are public sector. Two, we have a social charter. So we don't employ people because we have to provide employment. We employ people because we have to do a certain set of things for the country, for the economy, for customers. And what we are seeing is that some of the things that take a much longer time in the traditional sense, even after using technology, and I'm not commenting on whether there's a shortage or there's a surplus. Yes, we also, we usually find the people that we want to hire. Just to give you an idea, we intake about 2,000 probationary officers a year, and about 15 lakh people apply for that. So there is abundance of at least the people that we would like to hire. Of course, when we go into specialist roles, the funnel can reduce. But the way we are looking at it is that we would like to do a better job at what we are required to do. We are not in the business of employment, so we are not worried about whether we are going to be employing more people or lesser people. Our headcount, for example, has by and large remained steady state for the last 5-6 years. It's all published data, which effectively means that we are using more and more tools, whether technology or now more recently AI, to make our outcomes more effective and more efficient. Now, when that continues to happen, obviously with use of things like agentic AI, where workflows will become intelligent, and intelligent process automation is anyway coming in, there is going to be a need to say that, okay, I don't need these 5 people to be running this process, which an AI can run in 5 minutes. Now, what do those 5 people do? They get reskilled to do something better or do something different. And that is what we believe, that as long as we are in an economy which is continuing to grow at 6%, 7%, 8%, whatever it is, or nominally at 10%, there is going to be enough and more opportunity for all of us to play that whole societal role and the social charter. And in any case, because of the diversity that we have, there is going to be all kinds of people coming from all walks of life, from all different parts of the country at all points in time. Right? And all people are not going to be at the same level, at the same place all the time. So some people will need more intervention than the others. Some people will perform more sophisticated roles. Some people will become more sophisticated with use of technology or AI. But at the same time, I think everybody will just continue to move up. So I think we are far from a situation, at least in our bank. I'm not saying that for the industry, but certainly in our bank, where we believe that there is going to be any let go of employment.
Sudeshna, you have the mic. Could you quickly comment on what's the potential impact on employment?
I would agree that it has no impact, but it's high time we look at all our jobs, from CEO to right down the level, as to what we are doing. And there will be a part of the job which is very specialized, very like to do with your stakeholder management, to do with ethics, where you need yourself. There is a part which you can completely give it off to the system. There is a part where you can use AI. So we are doing a very, very, intentional way to identify this for roles. At this point of time, we're working with various clients to do this, is that each role in your organization, pick it up and find these 3 things, which are very specialized, cannot go, which can completely go, and where you can use AI. Use AI as an augmenter, not as a tool, I would say.
Thank you. Neha, you wanted to comment quickly. Yeah.
Actually, I wanted to say that AI is also creating jobs. It's not just about taking away jobs, the question. And very simple example, I think, in the world of marketing, I'll take a very different function. We used to earlier have a single advertisement which would go out to everyone, and there was no customization. Move to a world, and for one of the mid-sized banks, not even a larger bank we were working, we did a personalization campaign. So every customer for the same loan has a different need for a personal loan, right? I could take it for a holiday, a wedding, so on and so forth. I need to be able to create the ad in a way which is personalized for that use case. What we ended up realizing was that we hit a bottleneck in implementation, not because the models were not good, but because I didn't have enough people creating that imagery. So the number of ads that had to be created were not there. Now, AI has helped, because now it helps create those advertisements for us, which can go get delivered on the mobile as a notification. But at the same time, the demand for digital marketing has gone up. So I think it's changing the type of jobs, but it's not taking away. It's actually adding different dimensions or roles that we need to have in the world to do.
Wonderful. Thank you. Sri, you wanted to reach for the mic for a quick comment.
Just a quick comment there. I think, yeah, you're right. So there was a time when we had, tellers inside of banks, which then got replaced with ATM machines, right? So similarly, I think every time a new technology comes out, there will be some sort of disruption, and we are seeing that definitely. There will be less demand for IT engineers in certain sectors, for sure. There's no doubt about that. But like Neha said, new roles are getting created. So in the AI space today, you have AI solution architects, you have agentic AI engineers, you have AI safety engineers, you have AI optimization engineers. These are all new roles that are slowly coming up. I think most of us know about the prompt engineering being a highly paid role in the US, but a lot of 4 or 5 other roles which have recently popped up in the last few months, which I think will replace some of the old jobs.
That's great. Thank you so much. I'm sure we have quite a few students in the audience as well, so some of the inputs that you gave to the students, I'm sure, are is very valuable. If there are any questions, any people in the audience want to ask a question, if you, we could do 2 or 3 questions from the audience. So if you raise your hand, I'll know somebody out there wants to ask a question. So if you do have a question, raise a hand and let's know which of the panelists you would like to address your question to. Okay, there's one hand here. Do come forward so we can give you a mic. But meanwhile, I want to ask the panelists here, just a quick short answer for the audience. Is there one metric that you would ask them that they should use for measuring the impact or effectiveness of AI in their organizations? Just a metric.
Yeah, I think the way we do it right now is that there is a whole bunch of technical metrics just to be sure that the model is doing what it is expected to do. So you look at, let's say, the accuracy, the capture rate. There are variables to also, metrics to also decide whether the model has started to drift from its original outcomes. So you have to recalibrate. So then there are calibration metrics, but those are technical in nature. When you deploy AI, then the metrics are based on the use case. So if you've deployed it for, let's say, knowledge augmentation. Now, knowledge is very difficult to track and say that, okay, I'm more knowledgeable than what I was yesterday because I'm using an AI bot. But the outcomes can start to show. So we see that in terms of the final outcomes. And the example that I was giving in terms of the 145 models that we have, we track this and publish this in our annual report and our investor presentations also, that how much business we have been able to generate using AI models. As of last financial year, it was closer to 1,40,000 crores. So we track it and we know that it's growing at 35–40% CAGR every year. And that's a good enough metric for us to stay on course. Yeah.
Thank you. Anyone else with an example of a metric that you would recommend organizations use for?
Sure. So, I mean, ultimately for the boardroom, the stakeholder matters, and the stakeholder is going to look at ROI, but the underpinnings of that ROI is going to be, in simple terms, faster, better, cheaper. Is your time to market faster? Are you able to drop the prices, make it more beneficial for the customer? And are you making your teams more efficient?
I think from an organization point of view, it will be productivity and definitely time saved. But when we are asking our employees to use this, I don't know how to measure this, but I think the enjoyment of work should go up. Meaning you will leave the mundane stuff to AI.
No, so I was just going to add that, yeah, I think Net Promoter Score could be one measurement because eventually we are talking about customer satisfaction and so on. So NPS or even simple things like thumbs up, thumbs down when AI is giving an outcome could be another metric that you could use.
I think thematically what I would say, and I think all panelists said that, I don't think the metrics change. Eventually they are all business metrics. It's about how do I measure it within the business. That's all.
All right. We had one audience representative who wanted to ask a question. Can you come quickly? Quick question. One question. Or if you come also, we'll do 2 questions, but you come forward.
The question is basically there is a lot of distress among the youngsters, people who are coming out of colleges, coming out of MBA grads. When we are interacting, when we are trying to hire, they are also really stressed about with the tools, the advent of tools that they are using, and the organizations who are actually looking for hiring the right talent. There is a mismatch in terms of that. And how should the freshers or the people who are coming off the colleges approach this? Because there is a lot of unemployment at that level.
Thank you. I hope you heard the question. One piece of advice for the freshers, please. Who's going to volunteer among my panelists?
Sure. We deal with 7 lakh freshers every year, so.
Okay.
I mean, there is no replacement for theory that you learn in the classroom. I mean, that's vitally important. I mean, you need to know that. But what is more important is hands-on learning. Do your internships, do your apprenticeships, do your on-the-job training, do it as long as you can. For the campus student, the last semester, by and large, every university is allowing you to do it with the industry. For the online student, do the work-integrated learning program where for 3 years, while you're acquiring education, you're working with a company. I mean, that's going to give you the advantage over an average fresher.
Thank you. Anybody else wants to add a quick point of advice for freshers?
I would just add, use AI to hone your skills. Let it do the rote part and spend the time on doing the thinking, which is what organizations will value more and more.
Okay. Thank you. We're running out of time. I think we all took too much time having coffee, so we got to make up. But let me put all my panelists on the spot. Srikanth talked about Waymo, which is kind of a completely new application. This is different from incremental change to leapfrogging. Can all of you pick one use case of leapfrogging that is likely to happen in India?
Though in our industry is usually the boring type, so the use case that we think banking is boring, you know, so there is no doubt about it. Bankers are not, but banking is boring. But the one thing that we are fascinated with, and I don't think whether this is going to be really the breakthrough use case or not, is that every customer having its own intelligent agent, which does things for you, not just tells you what you're asking, but also you kind of tell the agent that, okay, this is what I want and get it done for me. And the agent, the AI agent then interacts with the back end of the bank, and there are hopefully agents out there who are also telling this intelligent agent of the customer that what is the best way to do it. So in some shape and form, everybody, and that is the highest order of inclusivity that we are looking at, that everybody in the way and manner that they can relate to an agent in the language that they can, in the voice or text or whichever other way that they want to communicate, everybody has a relationship assistant which helps them through.
I think I don't want to scare the HR professionals in this room, but I think the HR use case is quite strong, where I think most of the mundane work that HR professionals do on a daily basis will see a large, significant, uptake in AI, agentic AI automation.
So we are actually boldly thinking about something called BankX or Bank of the Future, where we are saying, can a new bank have many functions being done by AI? And the bankers only being the service and the advisors and not really the traditional pieces. So that's really something we are working on.
Sure. Thank you. I think everyone's going to have an AI coach, whether you're a student for your learner journey, whether you're a working professional for your next conversation with the manager, or you're a creative person, you'll need a coach and it's going to be right in your pocket.
I think personalization. Everywhere, customization and personalization will have its different. Be it banking, we heard of, be it in training, consulting, we would be able to provide that at a different level altogether.
Thank you. Thank you so much. This has been an excellent panel. I'm surprised that none of you quoted Ray Kurzweil to say if you live till 1945, you can live forever. That is his prediction. But on that note, I'd like to say that, Václav Smith must be a pessimist, because he said, oh, what is AI doing today? Writing personalized rejection letters or drawing cartoons in Picasso style? Looks like we're doing a lot more than that. And not only that, we are going to do a lot more with AI in the future. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, my panelists. It's been a wonderful discussion.
Please give a loud applause to the panelists. And Ramesh ji for moderating. Please be there.
Please stay
May I
for a moment.
request session moderator Ramesh ji to please hand over the token of appreciation